It's the same shit. Nothing's going to get done. Whether you're desensitized and, you do nothing, and whether you're sensitive about a subject and you do nothing, there's no difference. You're doing nothing either way. You might as well do what you feel comfortable with.
That QAnon was right about 90% of...
What? No. She is a black woman who believes in QAnon? What in the Uncle Ruckus? QAnon. The deranged right-wing movement about the deep state? Well, I knew a person who supported QAnon and believed in QAnon, and they were a Trump supporter. They believed Trump was going to stop QAnon. A black woman who supports QAnon, telling people that they are in the wrong for enjoying a fucking comedy. Our IQs cannot get any lower.
From what stores we shopped at as kids.
Okay, sure. How about you send me some stores that are woke enough? Pocket watching me. This is pocket watching. Depending at the stores we shop at. And she's not going to name a single store, by the way. What store? Walmart, Target, Dollar General? Should I only buy things from the family business that was created by a bunch of immigrants who moved in 3 months ago with nothing but $20 in a dream? Oh, guys. It's been a while since I've recorded reaction content, and that's because there's just nothing that interesting to react to. Well, I think I found our new topic. This is a YouTube channel named Xena Weena, and she believes that Rick and Morty was a psyop. Now, throughout this video, she's going to say possibly the dumbest shit you have ever heard, and I can't wait to tear it apart. You know what they say? Let's begin.
Rick and Morty is the perfect example of how dark humor is a psyop.
Okay, that is the first strike. See, a psyop is basically propaganda. I don't need to explain to you what a psyop is, but this belief that dark humor is a psyop might be the worst thing I have ever heard. There are many different types of dark humor that has been used by many different types of comedians and many different types of groups, and I have used dark humor among my friends. But let's talk about examples of dark humor. Moral Earl uses dark humor, but Moral Earl's dark humor is different from Family Guy's dark humor. Family Guy's dark humor is different from The Boys' dark humor. The Boys' dark humor is different from Class of '09's dark humor. Class of '09's dark humor is different from Panty and Stockings' dark humor. Panty and Stockings' dark humor is different from South Park's dark humor, which is different from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia's dark humor. There are plenty of different shows that use dark humor in completely different ways. Saying dark humor is a psyop and putting it completely under this one umbrella might be the worst thing I have ever heard come out of someone's mouth.
I was introduced to Rick and Morty after the Epstein files, believe it or not. I went to a friend's house and she put it on, and I remember watching it kind of dazed and confused.
This is an example of how a lot of these video essays are really just, what's the term I'm looking for? Self-gratificating projects. They use terms like dazed and confused. All of them use terms like dazed and confused. They think they are the smartest person in the room for saying dazed and confused. There is no thought behind those eyes.
And I couldn't help but squint at my screen because I knew something was wrong. I mean, I counted 5
You felt a disturbance in the force?
Different pedo jokes the first episode, 3 the next.
Okay, the show goes out of its way to show Rick and Morty's dynamic as toxic, and shows that Rick putting Morty in sexual and abusive situations is not a good thing. But you fundamentally misunderstand the point of the show. Many shows use dark subject matter to critique its characters. A character can be racist, but that's not a reflection of the show itself. A character can be bigoted, and that's not a reflection of the show itself. I suggest you stop watching Bluey Thomas the Tank Engine and actually start using your brain for something.
And those numbers kept compounding. It didn't stop. So, you know, I couldn't tell if I was being too woke or not because I knew I was sensitive ever since the Epstein files came out.
Okay.
So, all I did was a cute little Google search. I did a cute little fact check.
Did she break out the fucking soundboard for this? Guys, take me seriously while I use my TikTok sound effect soundboard.
Allegation. Allegation. Conviction.
Okay, let's use our brains here. Let's use our brains here. If Rick and Morty was a psyop made by the government, why would Justin Roiland be caught and be arrested for his crimes if it was a psyop? We all know how hard the government tried to hide the Epstein files and how hard they tried to hide Trump's connection to Epstein and, from what I assume, Netanyahu's connection to Epstein. So why would they let another person who works under them be caught for this? Why would they do that? I'm thinking. Why would the person protected by the government be caught doing this, especially at the height of his career? Why? Dang, she got big eyes. That's not an insult, she just has big eyes. She kind of has that anime girl look going for her.
The individual who produced or directed or created that show was, in fact, guilty as charged.
Yes, so was the person who made Mighty Magiswords, and the person who made Ren and Stimpy, and the person who made Victorious, iCarly, and Sam and Cat. Numerous shows have been made by numerous different creeps. That's not a reflection of the show. The creators of South Park are not creeps. The creators of Family Guy was not a creep, and those two shows have toed the line on many occasions. The creator of numerous of these animes, like Mushoku Tensei, is not a predator, nor has been accused of anything predatory. That is not a reflection of the creator. Sometimes creators are just doing stuff because they find it funny.
To think that that show was the pinnacle of young male humor.
Yes, because young males can actually disconnect themselves from whatever the fuck you guys are talking about and enjoy something that is meant to be a comedy.
For a long period of time just goes to show what the system rewards and what it's trying to do to us.
The system, this mysterious system.
I feel like dark humor is the vessel through which the system desensitizes us to what it wants to desensitize us to.
What the fuck is the system? Are we talking about solo leveling right now? When people say the system, because I, too, am a very conspiracy theorist insane person, even my avatar is a person wearing a tinfoil hat with Illuminati eyes and a trench coat. I, too, am very irony-pilled. When you talk about the system, my mind branches to many things. Some people will blame the US government. Some people will talk about lizard people. Some people will talk about the demons who run the government. Some people will talk about QAnon. Some people will talk about Israel. What are you talking about when you mention the system? Please let me know.
And this works in different forms. For kids, this is oftentimes sexual content, I think. This is my...
Okay, name the sexual content for children that is on television. Please. I mean, yeah, they may toe the line sometimes. That's because the creator just finds, hey, that could be funny. There are plenty of adult jokes in Regular Show, but to say Regular Show was a psyop would be such an insane statement to make, and you'd look dumb.
My thesis is that children are systematically desensitized to sexual content through this concept of dark humor.
Rick and Morty is not a kid's show.
Specifically young boys. I can't tell you how much of young boy humor was sexual. And I think this is intentional. The way that sex is talked about in media for kids is supposed to be like an inside secret that kids are not able to get in on. And when you make something taboo, it's almost like you're putting kids in the Garden of Eden, ready to eat the fruit of knowledge.
What the fuck is she talking about? The reason why those jokes are made is because it's something that the parents could get at, but the kids wouldn't understand. Of course, as kids get older and kids get more curious, they're gonna look into it. But nobody told them to look into it. You did that on your own accord. My mom was a devout Christian, but by the time I reached the 9th grade, I got into stuff like Drawn Together, South Park, and Panty and Stocking. And by the time I reached 11th grade, I got into stuff like Pokemon Clover. And I only recently started watching Rick and Morty, like what she said. But, like, throughout this whole time, I deliberately went against what my parents' wishes were because they didn't want me to be into this sort of humor as well. So I feel like we just see different things.
Knowledge of wondering what this thing is. It must be cool if I'm being left out of it. It must be something I want to know. That is the way that sex.
Yes, that is natural, but nobody's forcing you to be involved.
Sexual content is treated for children. That's my take. I think the same thing goes for so many different kinds of isms and phobias. I mean, this idea that something is funny just because it's discriminatory is not is a thought that comes from you. Like, you didn't make that up. That's an assumption that has just come with this society.
Okay, name a thought that is 100% original that you came up with. Name a thought that you came up with that is 100% original. If I decide I want to put ketchup, mayo, and mustard on my hamburger, and then I'm like, that's not an original thought. Yeah, of course it's not an original thought, but go ahead and do it. Like, I'm not saying a joke is funny just because it's discriminatory. No, shit like Speed McQueen is unfunny as fuck because Speed McQueen is just copying what everybody else is. There is a level of originality to doing this. What you fail to understand, though, is that Rick and Morty, South Park, Pokemon Clover, Drawn Together, and the plethora of other shows I have mentioned, shows, games, and media I have mentioned throughout, and rappers, by the way. We have to include rappers like Lil Wayne, Tyler the Creator. You know, they've said some pretty shocking things in the past. All of these things have been doing things very originally and very creatively.
Will you ignorant niggas please shut the hell up?
The South Park episode with apologies to Jesse Jackson the joke is not, oh, Randy Marsh says the N-word and the audience laughs. The joke is pretty much a double entendre about how, well, Randy Marsh says the N-word and he gets treated as black people did back in the day and how people only start viewing him as his word. The joke being very self-aware. That's the joke. In the case of Rick and Morty, the huge amounts of predatory jokes are oftentimes either A, references to other naughty media, or B, showcasing how bad of a partner Rick truly is.
That's something that this society has just told us, that things are funny when they're racist.
That is not something society has told you. No, it's not. Where did you get that from? Throughout my time in public school, I was constantly humiliated and constantly made fun of because of my sense of humor. Throughout time in your workplace, there is stuff got an HR department where if you say racist things, you can get fired. There are businesses where if you say racist and offensive things, you do get fired. Society isn't, oh, you're rewarded for saying racist and harmful things. No, you're actually punished for this. So I don't know what the fuck she's talking about.
Or sexist. And notice how dark humor doesn't work like this. It's not like a guy's gonna come up to you and say, all black people smoke crack. Why didn't Sally go to take your daughter to work day? Because her dad's in prison. Ah!
Wait. You mean to tell me that jokes have setups and then a punchline? Maybe the reason why people don't approach you saying all black people do drugs as the joke is because that's not a joke. At most, that's a statement. An incorrect statement, but still a statement. The difference with the Sally joke is that is a joke. There's a setup, there's a punchline, there's shock, there's being thrown off guard. That's the difference, man.
No, they're gonna go, why didn't Sally go to take your daughter to work day? She was African American. Get it? And then
Okay.
it's almost like you have to make that implicit connection. You see what I'm trying to say? It's almost like
Yes, because comedy oftentimes involves you filling in the blanks. A big part of comedy is the element of surprise. A big part of comedy is being caught off guard. And you making the assumptions and making the bridge is part of being caught off guard. Also, I find it funny how people have this belief that dark humor is only used to target people who are minority groups. When I have seen dark humor be used to target people like Donald Trump and Israel and rich people, Elon Musk, numerous rich people and people of power get made fun of through dark humor. Dark humor is not just used on minority groups.
you're doing LSAT prep. Like find the hidden assumption of the argument, right? With dark humor. It's almost training you to connect stereotype to marginalized group amongst.
Because it is a joke and some people find it funny. You can be a completely dark humor person and not be racist. Your sense of humor can be offensive and you be a good person at heart. That is just an obvious fact.
Amongst young people, amongst young boys, right? Amongst people who feel like shells of themselves, who don't feel proud of themselves innately. Why do we think it is? It's a way for people in a broken society to feel on top of somebody else, right? To feel on top of the blue-haired liberal who gets mad at everything.
That's literally what you are acting like.
Because it's not that deep, and I don't.
Also, I find it funny because the blue-haired liberal is not as made fun of as the red-hatted MAGA Trump supporter. Like, you're completely forgetting about the fact that right-wingers are oftentimes the brunt of dark humor jokes, and there are plenty of Rick and Morty jokes that make fun of right-wingers. There are plenty of jokes in shows that make fun of right-wingers. But no, dark humor is only used against minorities and liberals because I only go looking for the dark humor that personally offends me.
Think deeply, so that makes me superior because I don't get mad. I'm not affected. Everything's ironic. I don't feel anything. I don't feel anything about the economy crashing or about how my family can't make enough to make ends meet. I'm ironic and I'm edgy and I'm funny.
This heated about what?
I guess, bro. Whatever, bro. It's not that deep, bro.
I mean, it really isn't.
Are you so sensitive? That's the kind of apathetic timing they're trying to get you on. They want to make you feel superior for being and doing absolutely nothing. For dividing yourselves from everyone and isolating yourself in your own pain.
Isolating yourself in your own pain. What? No, it's just that we don't have to share everything with everybody. Like, what is this mindset with this? They want you to feel apathetic and isolated so you're by yourself with your own pain. No, I'm just not going to share every single thing that's bothering me with every single person. Like, duh.
Right, but you slap on a cute little joke about another group and then you feel better. That's what dark humor is. And Rick and Morty
Dark humor can be a plethora of things, but I've already stated this.
really opened my eyes to that. On how deep this thing goes. Why are we talking about shoving stuff up a 14-year-old's butt 24/7?
That is in one episode. Literally one episode. And it is used to show the toxic dynamic between Rick and Morty.
Why are we making jokes about relations between a 14-year-old and his grandpa?
Because Rick is a bad partner. Obviously. Everyone fucking knows this.
There's also this one scene I just have to bring up where it was the butt stuff, but it was happening off screen. I think it was the first episode, and then just let us hear the 14-year-old Morty crying for a good 30 seconds to a minute. I remember I was sitting on this couch with my friend. I didn't even want to look. I was like, it was just us sitting there and listening to this 14-year-old scream, cry for a minute and a half. I knew something was spiritually wrong with the show.
What the fuck? Bro, these spiritual bitches would lose their mind. Not just women. These spiritual people in general have lost their mind. You want to talk about... I feel like another reason why Christians don't like dark humor is because Christians are aware that they are at the brunt of dark humor most of the time. I think she's just offended. You know, being a Christian, being a black woman, and being a liberal. Yeah, I imagine you are at the brunt of a lot of jokes. And you may feel a little bit, you know, sensitive about the topic. But the reason why Morty was crying is because of the fact that Morty felt taken advantage of and Morty felt abused. The crying wasn't there for the audience to laugh at him. What the fuck? The crying was there because it was to showcase how this has mentally fucked up Morty. And the entirety of the show is showing how these sort of actions and this sort of lifestyle has mentally fucked up Morty to such a degree, and how he himself slowly becomes more apathetic and more desensitized. The same thing that she is talking about.
Show. I knew something was wrong with the show, and I wouldn't let anybody. And all I had to do was do a quick Google search to confirm I was correct. Everything is mind control, and mind control has become a buzzword.
Mind control. Okay, Jean Grey, calm down.
Buzzword. Break it down. They're trying to manipulate how we think, what we think is permissible, what we think is not permissible. What's funny, what isn't. That's mind control. That's all that mind control is. Warping your beliefs, warping...
Okay, I'm gonna stop you right here. One of the most popular adult shows of this past decade is Has Been Hotel. Has Been Hotel does not have that many problematic jokes. Maybe like one or two sexual assault jokes, but that's also because it takes place in hell. But like Has Been Hotel, not that many. Smiling Friends has like one joke of Pim saying, "I love kids, Charlie," which is Pim being innocent and Charlie correcting him. The vast majority of modern adult shows are rather different in humor compared to Rick and Morty.
How you see reality, that's all that it is. And that's what they're doing. Okay? Especially through humor. The irony thing nowadays, now that everything is ironic, everything is, you know, a joke.
Did she make a script for this video?
This idea of feeling emotions like a human is corny. They're trying to remove us from our humanity.
And here we go with this next take. I am so tired of seeing this not everything is corny mindset. For the past few months, I've been seeing this being cringe is free mindset and how the human is corny or whatever the fuck point she's trying to make. And it reminds me of these fucking Vocaloid fans who will listen to their loud ear assault Teto song and then people be like, man, this song is shit. And they'd be like, being cringe is being free. You know you're also a bot, right?
Prepping us for separating from our humanity. They want us to create a schism between ourselves or wherever and our humanity.
Okay, I'm going to take a guess. What degree do you think she has in college? I think she has like a gender studies degree.
Because that's the only way we will accept the craziness that's going on in this world. That's the only way we will accept that child trafficking is what props up this capitalist system.
Well, you heard it here, folks. I watched Rick and Morty, and now I support the Epstein. You heard it from her. I mean, you can tell by the ominous background music she's suddenly playing to make it seem so much more serious than it actually is. Well, I watched Rick and Morty, and it's Rick and Morty's fault that people aren't talking about the Epstein list. We live in a stimulation.
Billionaires are, you know, pushing around, moving around.
Rick and Morty has made fun of billionaires on plenty of occasions.
On children. All the time. And no one's being prosecuted.
Because they're rich and thus forth can't be prosecuted. I'm so tired of this. They can't be prosecuted. Because they basically own the judicial system. I would love to see the people on the Epstein list be prosecuted and arrested and punished. But I am fully aware of the mindset that that is just most likely not going to happen. Like, that is most likely not going to happen. If you think it was going to happen, I'm sorry, you're too white-pilled. Like, you're too hope-pilled. That was just not going to happen. You kind of set yourself up for failure by having these high beliefs about it, because truthfully, what can be done against people who already own the system? Whether we were desensitized or not doesn't matter. They already own everything. It doesn't change whether you cry about it or not. I mean, there was this idea where like, oh, well, you're desensitized. Yeah, well, you could be desensitized and doing nothing. But if you're sensitized and doing nothing, it's the same shit. Nothing's going to get done. Whether you're desensitized and, you do nothing, and whether you're sensitive about a subject and you do nothing, there's no difference. You're doing nothing either way. You might as well do what you feel comfortable with.
That's how they do it. Suddenly it's cringe to talk. Everything's a joke. Everything's not that deep. Everything
I know this person was a fucking Vocaloid fan.
is that deep, in fact. And that's been made very clear by Palantir and by everything else that's going on, dude. I don't want to hear another it's not that deep in 2026. Everything has proven to you that it is, in fact, that deep. That QAnon was right about 90% of...
What? No. She is a black woman who believes in QAnon? What in the Uncle Ruckus? QAnon. The deranged right-wing movement about the deep state, where I knew a person who was supported QAnon and believed in QAnon, and they were a Trump supporter. They believed Trump was going to stop QAnon. A black woman who supports QAnon, telling people that they are in the wrong for enjoying a fucking comedy. Our IQs cannot get any lower.
Of the stuff, bro. And they went deep. They went deeper than deep, baby. So it's deep. It's deep. It's real deep.
Not the only thing that's
Real
deep.
deep, bro. I find it crazy that we're still making that argument, bro. Everything is deep. Everything is deep.
Everything is deep. When I put peanut butter on my sandwiches instead of peanut butter and jelly, and somebody says the reason why you didn't put jelly on your peanut butter and jelly sandwich is because jelly is the color of purple, and purple is a color that is known in the pride community as being the best color. You didn't put jelly on your sandwich because you're pride-phobic.
From what stores we shopped at as kids.
Okay, sure. How about you send me some stores that are woke enough? How about that? Since you're going to fucking store check me. Since you're going to store watch me, why don't you, tell me some stores to shop at? I mean, she is genuinely pocket watching me. This is pocket watching. Depending at the stores we shop at. And she's not going to name a single store, by the way. What store? Walmart? Target? Dollar General? Should I only buy things from the family business that was created by a bunch of immigrants who moved in 3 months ago with nothing but $20 in a dream? Is that it?
What we find cool, what we don't find cool, who we find cool, who...
People just have differing opinions on who they find cool and who they don't find cool. That's rarely ever a government thing. A lot of my classmates found the kids who were good at football cool, but I didn't give a shit about football, so I didn't find it cool.
Suddenly blowing up out of nowhere, clavicular.
Look, say what you want about clavicular, but calling clavicular CIA plant is very weird to me because I feel like clavicular is just an example of people being attracted to the drama. Like, clavicular is like a Chris Chan sort of thing. He's like a lol cow. We only are interested in the guy because he is, well, crazy. Very few people actually agree with what clavicular is preaching, and the ones who do agree with him are oftentimes mocked and made fun of.
Come on, bro. It's craziness. Like, The only reason you find it funny is because they told you it was funny, bro.
The only reason you find it funny is because they told you it was funny. Actually, the reason why I find it funny is because I grew up in a household of people telling me that it's not funny. And thus forth, I end up finding it funny. I could say the same thing about everything you enjoy. Do you like SpongeBob? SpongeBob's only funny because you find it funny. Because the government told you SpongeBob is funny. You like My Little Pony? The government told you My Little Pony is funny. That's right, the government told you that. You didn't make that thought on your own. You didn't sit down and think, man, I like this show. In fact, no. We should live in a society with no problematic or offensive content. We should all be castrated. Mentally, physically, and vocally castrated. That's the society we should be in. Because Rick and Morty may be a little bit too offensive.
This whole shock factor thing, get it? Because it's racist.
Yeah, people have been calling that out for a while.
Oh, I remember that racist stereotype connection I learned when my dad told me that the black people are leeching off of our economy. You're a bot, brother. You're a bot.
Yes, and you are not any less of a bot. So let's look at this woman's YouTube channel, by the way. Also, very bold of you to make a YouTube channel while you're also so against Palantir and the government. Very bold of you. But yeah, let's look at this. Let's look at this stuff. Transhumanism. Nostalgia is brain pollution. I mean, it all started with Patrick Bateman. I mean, just look at this. Just look at all of this brilliant, amazing, genius content. Quirky black girls. I do like quirky black girls. Those are a W. Twitch? You have a Twitch talking about some gooning? You had a video that was against gooning here. And you have a Twitch account? What account? What social media platform allowed hot tub streaming? Please. Now look. Are all of her videos wrong and are all of her takes wrong? I don't know. This is the first video I saw of her. But I certainly do not think that some of these opinions are the best. But hey, I guess we just agree to disagree. 33 minutes. Damn.